I've sort of had to earn my stripes at every level. I've tried to keep myself humble through each step, so not getting carried away. Like I say, I always think of it as a bit of a finishing school because it sharpened me up. And there was things I saw of myself in Ange and I thought, yeah, I like that. But I'd heard about them, and then speaking to them on the calls and everything, I thought, no, these are serious people, so I'm not going to walk in there and then the rug's going to be pulled from underneath you. They want to do this properly. What helps is it's packed every single game. You see some championship games and there's sporadic seats missing and it looks a bit dead. Our stadium, packed every game. They are, like I say, my wife and the kids, and everything they've put up with in them 100 games. As I say, you can't do it without them. For me, it's like, these are memories. This book's amazing because these are things that I'll treasure forever.
Chris, how are you?
How are you? You
You
okay?
okay?
All right.
Thanks for coming to see us.
No
Can I
problem.
get you a coffee?
Yes, please. Yeah.
What we
I'll
having?
have an Americano, please.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, decaf.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
decaf, one normal black, please.
Oh, I've never been here actually. It's nice.
Yeah, it's
Nice
nice.
little place, eh?
Not far
Yeah.
from Epic.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Normally Costa's on everyone comes to, but this looks a bit nicer actually.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
That's wrong colour. That should be blue, shouldn't it? Never mind. Didn't get that right.
We can't get everything right,
No.
Chris, can we? Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Obviously, Charlton away is your 100th game.
Yeah.
Great milestone.
Yeah.
How proud are you?
I am proud. It's one of those where you don't sort of want to make it about you and everything else, because it's not about me, but it's a personal milestone, 100 games.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think it sounds really small. You think 1,000 games, like Neil Warnock's gone to Torquay, and it's his, I read today it's his, is it his 1,600th game or whatever it is, or it might be something like, I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I'm thinking, wow. In fact, I think it was 1,267, but I'm thinking, okay, 100 is not that much. But for me, it is, and
I
yeah.
played for Neil Warnock for 6 games on loan
Oh,
from
really?
Birmingham, yeah. You're nothing like Neil Warnock, I'll give you that.
Well, if I have as many games as him, I've done well. But no, I think it is. It's funny it's at Charlton as well, because Charlton was the first game I won
Yeah,
and the first game I lost.
yeah, with the cup and the
Yeah,
league,
so won the second game. So Brandon Keeler, who scored that amazing goal. First time I experienced what it feels like to win, and with the fans and everything else. And then in my 8th game, it was when we lost the first game, and the emotions and everything. So there's something quite ironic about that. It's the 100th one that I'm going back there again.
Yeah.
So I will be thinking about it. It will be in my head, obviously, but like you say, it's a personal thing. But and especially at a club like this, I think it's one of a big club, you know. So it's for every manager or anyone to achieve it. But at one club and a club like Birmingham, and in my first job, is making it sort of feel even more important, you know.
But all of your clubs that you've worked at previously have been big clubs.
Yeah.
But taking the manager's role
Yeah.
is different. Watford lad,
Yeah.
but you're coming through at Reading, through the youth team.
Yeah.
Schoolboy there as well?
Yeah, I was a little bit at Watford. I was from the hometown club, and then spent time at Barnet, spent time at Southampton, and then Reading. Yeah,
But
learnt a lot.
thriving really in the youth team and reserves. And then injury starts
Yeah.
to be an issue.
Yeah, I
for you.
did.
Tell us about that.
Well, I had a good time there. I was captain of the youth teams and everything else, and I think I was well thought of. I was never the best player, I must say, but I was always, you know, my attitude and everything, I would give everything. And there were some good coaches around at the time, and both that I've gone on to work for. So Brian McDermott, Brendan Rodgers, we had Kevin Dillon there, obviously Alan Pardew. But I played through into the reserve team because it wasn't like a 21s, it was just the reserve team, and that was a good reserve league and everything.
It was proper reserve league.
It was playing with men basically, and you're only sort of 16, 17, 18, so it's quite a big jump, but they meant something. They were proper games, you know. So I did that, and then my final year, I went to try and get some games and everything else, and went to what was the conference at that point, the conference to try and get some games, and I picked up an injury there. Which started small and got bigger and bigger the more I played on through it, and ended up in a situation in the summer where it was like I went to see a sort of specialist. My contract was running out of Reading, I hadn't got the games, I had my injury, and it was, look, you should probably think about other things in life than just football with the way this is. And
Okay.
I took a step away, and the PFA helped me, and Reading helped me, and they supported me to go and look at Bath University or Loughborough University. So they were the two that were sort of, you know, good options. Bath had a team that played and everything, and then you did your degree as well. But then Loughborough was just renowned for being a really good place to go and you know, learn and everything, and a sporting institution. So just felt at that point it was the right thing to do, and the PFA got me lined up to do my coaching badges and everything else with them, and then they funded some of the degree. I've sort of had to earn my stripes at every level. I've tried to keep myself humble through each step, so not getting carried away and understanding where I sit in the hierarchy, because I think that's important, and try and earn people's respect through either how I am or what I do, rather than, you know, because I had no respect, I had no credibility.
Well, I was going to say, do you think that that's helped you? Because the norm or the stereotype is to have a playing career, then do your badges late on, and then come into it and people think, yeah, I know him, I remember him playing. But yours is different.
Yeah, I think it has helped me. It's probably helped me focus on how to communicate with people, how to be, like I say, I've had no credibility. I've had to sort of earn that all the time, and respecting people, talking to people, learning and actually having something to offer. So whether it's, you know, in the end I ended up, which we'll come to I'm sure, working at like a Liverpool and working with the players on tactical things, and there were things that I'd spent so long learning and developing in the communication skills that then I had something to offer, you know. So, but I think it was different for me.
Did that give you more of a drive to do it in that respect?
I think so. I think it's one of, would I have been as determined as I have been as a coach manager? I think there comes ultimately something about proving yourself, something about, I felt like I'd failed, whether it was physically or everything else. I didn't quite have what I wanted to have as a player, and I think the truth is that deep down there is a driver inside you there that's going, right, I can make an impact. And I probably had, sometimes I wonder if I had the right amount of belief as a player. Because I always felt I could play, but did I really believe I could have that career? But as a coach, it didn't take me long to think, well, I really have this belief that I can do it well.
Yeah. So you're at Loughborough.
Yeah.
Doing your course. What was that?
So it was sports science course, and alongside that was doing my coaching badges with the PFA. So I was getting all them hours in. I tried so hard to get a good degree because I was so upset that I hadn't had my career as I wanted to. So I thought, I need to get my coaching badge, I need to get a good degree. And I always say I got a first class honours degree from Loughborough, which people in football, it doesn't really mean too much, but to me it meant the world, because I basically transformed from very limited academically to just putting everything into it, and I came up with something that ultimately helped me. It didn't take long for that to develop into, well, my real strength's going to be as a coach. I felt like I'd had enough of playing experience to know how players felt, so I thought, well, this is going to suit me more. And then it took a few years then when I came back from New Zealand, and I started working at sort of Swansea, and I started to really think, right, I know I can be a manager, and I sort of set myself almost like 10 years to get there from that point on.
So we'll talk about Swansea, but how did that come about to actually joining Swansea? What were you then, 25?
So yeah, I was 25, I just got back. So basically, Swansea was, I remember I was back home, Brendan Rodgers had just been announced as a Swansea manager, and I kept in touch with him a little bit since playing for him.
So he would have been your youth team coach?
He was my youth team coach, yeah. He made me the captain of the youth team, and he always sort of saw something in me, and we had a good relationship, player to sort of coach. And then I just sent him a message. I still remember it. You know, you remember key moments in your life, but I sent him a message saying, good luck in your job at Swansea. Know the area well, because obviously my dad's from Knighthead, which is not far from Swansea, and obviously my Welsh connection. So, and you know, I'm back now. Give us a shout if you need anything. And I'd hardly put the phone down. It was at breakfast time. I'd hardly put the phone down, and he'd text back, "We'll call you in 10 minutes." And I hadn't spoken to him for a year or two at this point. Right. So I thought, okay. And then he rang me and he said, "Look, I need one person to come in here, basically." They've had Paulo Sousa had left, and he'd taken, you know, someone with him. I think he'd gone to Leicester, and it was but what I need the job is like opposition analysis.
Okay.
So I think he'd initially he'd worked with Mourinho, and then they'd got all the templates from the guy Andre Villas-Boas.
Yeah.
So he'd worked for Mourinho. So, and at that
Incredible
point,
detail, wasn't it?
it was all detailed, and it was quite at that point quite new. There wasn't loads of teams doing it, and Mourinho, they used to say, was a bit ahead of his time. So, and Brendan had worked with him. So I think he had that in mind. I went and met him in Swansea, went for dinner, walked around the marina. He said, look, you know, he was a young manager himself at the time, but here now, this is what I want you to put together. He showed me the sort of tactical reports, and I thought, this is going to be different, but it feels right.
You're talking about the Swansea time. We've got a little surprise for you.
Okay.
If I just grab this, and we'll hopefully talk through some pictures, and this is for you to take away.
Oh, wow.
So this is what
really nice.
What the club's done.
Oh, wow.
To celebrate your 100th game against Charlton.
Yeah.
But this looks back through your career so far.
Wow.
So there's a little few sentences there.
Yeah.
But we start with that Swansea that you're just talking about.
That is good, isn't it? Oh, that was incredible that day. Yeah, that was the playoff final.
May 2011. So that was your first season?
Yeah, first season at Swansea. It was a bit of a...
You have a history of that, don't you?
First
season
promotion, yeah.
Thankfully.
Yeah, absolutely. It was... No, that was... I mean, a playoff final, as you know, it's like the best way to go up. And, yeah, the whole day, the whole thing. And the irony for Brendan was that it was against Reading. And obviously me to a certain extent, but Brendan, because that was the club that actually sacked him the year before, and he ends up meeting him in the playoff final. So you couldn't write it really.
No, but football's like that.
That's a funny way of working, yeah.
And then obviously you're on the grass.
Yeah, so
with
that's
Brendan.
Pre-season probably in Austria when we were in the Premier League then.
So was it still opposition analysis?
Yeah, it was still. I think as anything, again, I felt like I was earning my respect and credibility. So it went probably more from just look at the opposition to, as Brendan trusted me more as a coach, I might be more of a confident, or talk to him about the team and how the team's doing, and not so much at Swansea, but it was growing, and I think Colin Pascoe had a hip operation actually this pre-season, so Brendan saw an opportunity to take me on the grass and
that was going to be my question, because it's not often opposition analysis would have boots on. That's the way I would.
That's credit to Brendan, because again, the relationship I had with him, I think he knew me enough from my younger days that I could handle it.
So promotion your first year, then the Premier League at Swansea, and then Liverpool.
Yeah,
Liverpool. Tell us about that and how the role differed, if any.
Well, what happened at the end of that season was, I think I was 28 or whatever, but Brendan had come to the end of Swansea and was talking about me being the reserve team manager of Swansea. So there's a good opportunity for you to take the reserves on, with the under-21 stroke reserves. I was really excited about it. But then we started doing so well at Swansea that he had Liverpool and Spurs come up for him. And Brendan was really open. Listen, I've got Liverpool, I've got Spurs, you've got here if you want to stay. And I really wanted to be a coach on the grass every day. So for me, it was like, oh God, I've got...
So you'd made that decision at that point?
Yeah.
You knew where you wanted to be?
Yeah, whether Swansea would have continued with me in that role without Brendan there, I don't know. But I certainly wanted to be a coach on the grass. But then when Liverpool came up, it was like, well, you can't turn down Liverpool. It was, what a club. You scored the winner there, by the way, for Watford, I know that much. But yeah, what a club, what a place. And the whole 3.5 years you're there, it's a privilege. It really is. Yeah. It's one of those. It's like the top clubs. And again, we did pretty well. Kenny Dalglish, absolute iconic figure who I got to know as well when I was up there. Yeah, amazing guy. And then he was actually the manager. Brendan took over, which was challenging, obviously from his point of view. And then we did all right the first season. I think we finished 7th, but then it was the second season that we really kicked on. Suarez and Sturridge and Coutinho and Sterling and with Gerrard. The team was very, very good. And
how did you feel when you go into that dressing room? I mean, those players that you named there, I'd be just happy watching them, but you're working with them.
Well, I said there's only 2 people I've ever been in awe of when I've met them. One was Sir Alex Ferguson. When I was at Swansea as a coach, he came into the room after a game. We played Man United. It was just me and him for about 10 minutes, and I was in awe, genuinely in awe of him. And he sat down, he started talking to me about the local area, actually talking about Jock Stein, who used to manage Knighthead and everything like that. But then Steven Gerrard was the other one when I went to Liverpool. He had an aura about him when he came through the door, and in the end got a really good relationship with him as the years went by. But he was there with the two, so he was the star of Liverpool obviously at the time. But just watching him operate became a big reference point for me and the rest of my coaching career, because how professional Stevie was, the way he behaved, is obviously his quality and everything else, but everything about him was the first time I'd seen what I would class as a world-class player. Yeah. And then it sort of set a bit of a benchmark for me, even in much how he wanted to improve still, because he was still the Liverpool captain and the England captain, and he was thirsty he still wanted to get better. He had a real humility about him, and I thought, well, if he wants to get better, then there's no excuse for anyone else to not want to keep improving. Because really, Stevie could have done what he wanted every day. No one would have said anything to him. Yeah. But he didn't. He was like, he wanted more. You know, we'd even watch games back and look at things, and he just wanted to get better. And he was pretty inspirational, I think, I must say, when you see him operate. And there's a few like that. And Jordan Henderson, who I became quite close to, followed on from Stevie, learned everything from Stevie, and then stepped into that. Yeah. So it's been nice to see how he's done it. But it was an amazing time.
I suppose it's almost a CV in pictures, this little book.
It's a great book, it really is.
And then it's Celtic.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, Celtic was, so I'd gone back to Reading after I left Liverpool, went back to Reading just briefly. Brian McDermott, my old reserve team manager, was there. Yep. So he said, can you come back with me? I joined Reading for 6 months in the Championship as my first role as sort of an assistant. But then at the end of that season, obviously, Celtic came up because Brendan had got the Celtic job. Yeah. And yeah, it was one of those, it sort of transformed my career. And I remember the day before it was announced that I was going to be the Celtic manager, or that day I went out for lunch with the family, and I remember thinking to myself, I knew it was going to be announced that afternoon, and I thought for myself, this is going to be quite life-changing in the sense that people are actually going to know who I am for the first time now. Yeah. I've been under the radar for so many years, no one knows who I am, but Celtic's that big a club that the assistant manager will be known, and I never really experienced that before. So I think I was preparing myself for something new, a new experience, and that was notability, actually responsibility in that way. And it was just like that. I mean, I had my own press conference when I arrived. That's how big Celtic is. They wanted to speak to me about being...
As the assistant manager?
Well, I assistant manager, and they wanted to bring me in, but it was funny because there was cameras everywhere. I was at Celtic Park, and I thought, wow, what a huge club this is to have this amount of interest in just me as the assistant. Again, because I had no one knew who I was in the first place, but Brendan's introduction was incredible. They had thousands of people turn up to Celtic Park the day he was announced and unveiled. It was incredible because there was so much goodwill that he was going up there. And obviously that helped me a lot because the goodwill, as you know in football, if the fans are on side, then it gives you a great 100%. Chance. So, and then Celtic was, you have to see it to believe it. I always say in my first season, my first interview, it was, right, we're going for six in a row, you know, and what? I didn't even think about that, what's that? And no, it's all about 10 in a row. Yeah. Because Rangers and Celtic have never done 10 in a row, and that means everything, and it's part of the daily conversation. Rangers stopped Celtic doing it, Celtic have stopped Rangers doing it. No team has had the dominance for a decade, and it's such a big thing, and we would go 7, 8, 9, I think. We were 6, 7, 8, I think we got to when we were up there, but yeah, incredible club, nothing like it.
And the treble winning, I suppose it's almost different when you go to Celtic, because it's expectation.
That job helped me a lot for Birmingham in League One, because I had the best players in League One, but that helped me how to prepare them, how to set them up, how to be dominant, because you can sometimes have the best players, but it can get away from you a little bit. And I think that was a good example of the style of football, what we needed to really be all over teams, to press them, to stay in their half, to just really be dominant. When you've got the better players, you should be able to do that. And I think that experience at Celtic prepared me a lot for when I came to Birmingham in League One, thinking, right, I've got the team here, I've just got to make sure we're at it every game.
I suppose Celtic and Birmingham, when you referenced last season, every game's almost a potential banana skin because of the expectation and the weight of.
Yeah.
Celtic's different, but Birmingham's expectation last season was exactly the same. We'll come on to that.
Yeah.
And then you go with Brendan again. To Leicester.
Yeah, Leicester was again the
I hope
irony.
You were renting houses, by the way, not buying.
I know. Well, I tell you what, Glasgow's expensive for renting houses, by the way. You think Glasgow might be better, but no, we've been, and all this time, by the way, we've got 3 kids now, and we've been. My poor wife was having to deal with babies and everything else, and having to move around. And my son went to 4 different primary schools, I think. So it's quite hard. You forget people in football are dealing with all that stuff on the background as well. So that was all going on, but I had only my eyes on, this and keep moving forward. There he is.
So there's the man that you're talking to. You talk about the FA Cup final.
Yeah.
It's almost like everything's going up.
Yeah.
But more pressure.
Yeah.
You thrive on that?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll thrive on adversity. As much as you don't want it and it's uncomfortable, I think what I've learned about myself is when things get difficult, it's when I'm actually at my best. We all want a bit of an easy life sometimes, but it brings the best out of me definitely when things are hard. But yeah, that was just a good journey, a good club, well run, obviously they're going through a tough time right now, but everything was in place. They won the league under Ranieri. They hadn't quite got going again under the next couple, and then it was like we won the FA Cup. We got to 5th in the league a few times. So the FA Cup final was brilliant. The best VAR call ever, probably, because I think Chilwell, who Chile was at Leicester with us, but he scored for Chelsea in the stoppage time, but it was VAR offside, and we ended up winning 1-0. Yuri Tielemans scored the most incredible goal. So yeah, first time they'd won it, Leicester. It was a big one. All
about the experiences that you go through, and then not long after, Tottenham.
Yeah.
Without Brendan.
Yeah.
For your first time, that's a challenge.
Yeah, that was a big one for me, because I think you can be with a manager for too long, and full respect for Brendan and every opportunity he gave me, incredibly grateful for, and learned so much from him. But there's a point that it probably doesn't serve you, or maybe even him at times. He'd probably heard everything I've got to say at that point. So when I finished at Leicester, I went around travelling around Europe. I went to Spain and Italy and Germany and Portugal, and I just opened my mind up again to football. And soon after that, there was talk of maybe being a manager at this point. And I'm so glad I didn't become a manager at this point.
Did you have opportunities?
You did have an opportunity. I did have opportunities that were there, but I'm so pleased they didn't quite work out for me, because I wasn't ready. And working with Ange for me was like a finishing school. It was the finishing school that I needed. And if I hadn't have done my year with Ange, I'm convinced I wouldn't have been the same manager when I came here.
Really?
It had a big impact on me, because it was something different. We went to Spurs.
So what were those differences?
Well, firstly, we went to Spurs. I didn't even know Ange, so that was the first thing. There was no I had to play for him. There was no, so we were complete separate entities. But Ange had a style that he wanted me to take the lead on a lot of things. So you manage to train, you organise this, you organise that. He was brilliant. We had Harry Kane, so I was going back to those days with the top players, Son and Romero, and again back to that again. But I had a lot of responsibility there. But Ange was, the way he got hold of that place, because Conte had just left, and me and James Maddison had gone from Leicester. James Maddison had signed in the summer. We spoke a little bit at times about Ange and his team talks, and he was the best. Honestly, is the way he spoke in those early days to the players, and the vibe he created, and just the atmosphere and the stories he would tell, and you could feel anyone would have wanted to play for him.
Right.
And it was different. It was a different style. Brendan was exceptional man manager. Would read situations, read people, and have everything sort of covered. And just the way he would, straight to the point, no messing about, and he was.
You knew exactly where
you knew exactly where you stood with him. He was I remember even if I did something that he wasn't quite, he'd tell you, but it was not lingering. It was done, over, he moved on to the next thing. He didn't have time to waste, but he also was a nice man as well. You could tell he was a good person, but he had this, when he spoke, people listened, and he created this. That's the reason we had such a good start at Spurs. And we finished 5th that season. We were top of the league after 10 games, and it's injuries and everything else, but it was really interesting to watch him operate. He was believable. He had conviction, real conviction in what he was trying to do. And I took a lot of that. I had all the years of experience before that. Like I say, I always think of it as a bit of a finishing school because it sharpened me up. And there was things I saw of myself in Ange, and I thought, yeah, I like that. It just allowed me to think of something more than just what I'd seen working with Brendan for all those years, to be space to be who I want to be a little bit, you know.
So at that point, you've already had opportunities to manage, not taking them, but interestingly, you say finishing almost like, right now I'm ready to do it.
And my wife said she knew because we were in the Maldives, or it started to come up there about the Birmingham job, and she said it was this different because I'd had loads of things. You know, you speak to this club, might want to speak to you. And again, I was always a gamble for everyone. What's he going to be like as a manager? We know he's a good number 2.
So we've got, I'm presuming that's your first day.
That's my first day. Yeah, I literally came home the day before from holiday, straight in there, drove to Henley, and God, it just seems. I mean, I've still got a dodgy haircut there, but it's still.
Let's not talk about haircuts. But I'm unqualified.
But it does. I don't know. It feels like such a long time ago, but yeah, I was so happy, but I didn't know what I was walking into really.
But it was a huge time for the football club.
Yeah.
Just relegated. You mentioned a lot of players out of contract, so you can, because it's arguably just as important who you get out from the ones that you bring in. So because you could have that huge turnaround in players, it's a huge task to take on, Chris, for your first job.
No, it was big, and I knew I had the backing as well. That was massive. Obviously, the owners, you know that they're serious people. I'd heard about them, and then speaking to them on the calls and everything, I thought, no, these are serious people. So I'm not going to walk in there and then the rug's going to be pulled from under you. They want to do this properly because they were invested in what gave it away for me was they invested in the training ground, they invested in the stadium, and they'd just been relegated to League One. So I thought, hold on a minute, no owners do that. No owners invest in the infrastructure when you get relegated to League One. So I thought they're obviously thinking long term and they want to do it right. So it helped me out in some ways. First thing, can you get the senior players engaged and on board? Dukey, obviously work out ones that you wanted to try and retain, like a Bielik. I wanted to keep Bielik and Laird and Paik and the ones that had sort of been around it. But yeah, it sort of helped me in some ways because I could go, you don't want them, and they didn't want to be here either. So it was easy. It was an easy sell. They were like, I don't think I'm a League One player, and I was thinking, well, great, because I don't want you here. So I could they were easy ones for me, and then it was a bit of a blank canvas to try and go, right, which ones do we need in? We didn't get it all right, but it was what the club needed. Whether it was me or someone else, it was what the club definitely needed, a complete reset. So actually, almost that a bit of a cleanse of the club, like, right, let's clean the decks here, and then let's go again.
And for you personally, it's a big change, going from whatever format the coaching career was to manager.
Yeah.
Did you think, I'm not a tracksuit manager, I'm not a suit and tie?
Yeah.
Because you look to be a Reece man to me.
Yeah,
the way that
absolutely. Everything's Reece.
How did it come
everything
about,
I'm wearing
that decision?
is Reece.
I'm exactly the same. So if there's a collaboration, I'll wear it on Blue Rise and you do it in the technical area.
Everything's Reece, honestly. But no, my wife did great with my attire because I thought, God, what am I going to wear? Do I wear it? I didn't want to wear a suit because I thought I'm not like, that's gone now. The suit days.
It is a conscious decision though for a manager.
Well, it is. You waste so much time. I used to think about, what would I wear? Would I wear this? Would I wear that? And then it came round to actually getting it. I think my wife just went out and she just bought loads of stuff and she said, right, that's it. And I put it all on and thought, actually, I like this. And I just wore that. So that was one thing. I knew what I was wearing every time. I think, again, the thing for me was I genuinely didn't feel nervous about the job, though. That's one thing I would say. I was very apprehensive about making sure I got results, and I knew the reality of it, but I didn't. There was nothing about me that felt nervous. I just felt I was like a bit of a man possessed at the start. I was like, I just wanted to get hold of everything, you know. And I've calmed down a little bit as time's gone on, but I was like,
I'm not sure you calmed down in the technical area.
No, probably not. And that's my way. That's my way. I am a bit like that. But
I can't imagine there's maybe Arteta.
Yeah.
Does more steps than
you.
But I can't imagine many more.
Probably,
obviously,
yeah.
I do the core comms behind you at St Andrews at Knighthead Park, and I can see
me moving up and down. It's strange how it happens, because you end up right up on the touchline. You're like, how do I get hit? I better walk back. But you're just so engrossed in the game.
We go on with your pictures at signing.
Yeah.
That's Reading game that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Your first day, Reece t-shirt.
That's it. Reece t-shirt. Everything's Reece. That's it.
And then from there, you talk about moments. Creating moments for the supporters, which I think, when I look back, those are the key points.
Yeah.
When I'm all done.
Yeah.
It's moments.
No, definitely.
But I'd never thought about it with that terminology. Here we're looking at that's your first win.
Yeah. First win as a manager. Yeah.
At Charlton. Let's hope we see that again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, that was what a strategy. Look back at that. I've never seen pictures from that game again, but again, it's just for me, it's such a special time, because when you manage a football club, you feel a lot of responsibility to the fans, obviously, especially at away games. You see them all, they've travelled there, and you just so want to make them happy. So that was my first experience of that in that game, and it was an amazing feeling. Yeah.
And the next picture is a long time later.
Yeah.
Peterborough.
Yeah.
What were there must have been key points between that picture and that picture.
Oh yeah.
Key points for the season, which were the big ones for you?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I look at there was, and again, decisions I made on taking players out of a team, like when I put Ryan Alsop in goal, for example, at one point, I thought was important. I remember little things like we played Walsall in the EFL Cup and we drew at home, and I started thinking after that game about how we weren't direct enough in the opposition. I weren't getting enough crosses in. We weren't playing enough balls in behind. We weren't actually making teams defend. So we're having possession, but we weren't like forcing errors. And I think that was, from a football point of view, quite a big game, because I thought, we're not going to, at this level, we just need to make their defenders, put them under pressure, you know. And it got me thinking a little bit about how I wanted to set the team up when we got to the opposition half. Just get a cross in. Don't play back around too much, you know, and things like that. That for some reason that game sticks in my head, because it was after that we played Wrexham, and that was a bit of a turning point, a big game, and that side of it. And then I think for me it was just managing the setbacks, I suppose, is the thing as a football manager. When you're winning, everything's fine, everyone's happy. It's when things go wrong, how your energy goes down, and you're just everything. You've got to create that path forward for people.
Do you rely on your staff at that point?
Yeah.
Because you know the position that they're in.
Yeah. I think what I've learned as a manager is that your job is to shield people from, and they really are looking at you. They really are looking to see how you react. If you look really stressed and you're struggling with it, they'll struggle, I think. And if you can take it and you can, the staff were massive. We just hit real momentum. Like I say, we had a good squad, we were expected, but what I did realise is that every single game we're expected to win, and even if we were outside the top two at any point, we were struggling. Wycombe flying early season.
Early doors, they were
absolutely flying. You had Wrexham doing well, and we weren't quite up there. We were in and around it, but we didn't really go for it till sort of December time.
But that expectation was building.
Yeah.
Full houses. Yeah. Away from home, full allocation. The supporters here. Yeah. It's almost like, and I've had conversations with it, St Andrews at Knighthead Park is like during my time when it was full house every week, and it was like, we can't lose here. And you did that. Yeah,
St Andrews is got that feeling about it that it's always notoriously a difficult place for the opposition to go. The opposition know that if they can keep you quiet and get the crowd a little bit, they can make it difficult for you as well. So starting well is really important there, and but we made it a fortress. Teams would come and we to be fair, I know we had a disappointing result there against Middlesbrough, but we've carried that on because of League One. Teams have come in and thought, this is going to be difficult, and I love that about what we've done for the home games. But what helps is it's packed every single game. You see some Championship games and there's sporadic seats missing and it looks a bit dead. Our stadium packed every game.
The winning dressing room from the promotion last season carried on to this. It's infectious, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the best place for anybody involved in the game of football to be is a winning dressing room at 5 o'clock on a Saturday or whichever day it is. We mentioned briefly there Peterborough.
Yeah, that was my best. That was without doubt, the
relief.
Best, the best night of my footballing career by miles. That night by miles.
Reece.
Reece jumper. everything's there. Probably a Reece t-shirt underneath. That's a Reece t-shirt. Expensive mine, but it's worth it. But
we'll get a collab after this. We'll be all right.
But I was, that was the one. That was the one. I just think
the highlight.
It was because I knew I'd come in here to get the team promoted. That was it. There was nothing. It was you have to get this team back up there. That's it.
Was that the spoken remit at the time when you came in?
Yeah, I can't remember them ever saying it as in like I just did, but it was obvious. It was like this is to bounce straight back. There's not even I honestly think if I was third or fourth for 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, it would have been really difficult because of the expectation and everything. But that was by far the best night, because for me that was vindication of everything I've been trying to do for the players. I'd got them all to come in, almost promising them that we'd be in the Championship this time next year, and that a lot of them had joined that journey, and so we'd all sort of gone up together. And with the fans that night and it just shows you, people say, oh, it's only League One. You'd have to be there that night to know what it felt like, because where I was sitting, the feeling was amazing. The players were celebrating like we'd just been promoted to the Premier League. It felt, a promotion's a promotion.
Absolutely.
And as I talk about moments and memories, that was it. Now you can be at the bottom of the Championship for 20 years and never have a night like that. Or you can go down to League One and have a season like that. What would you prefer? I know what I'd prefer. It's like some teams that are scrapping around in the Premier League every time just to stay up. You think, well, is it better that or to go down and have a promotion season? And
well, often supporters say that.
Yeah.
I'd rather go down and then
to
experience
go back,
that promotion.
Yeah.
But so you say that's the greatest night, and it became the greatest season.
Yeah.
But at that point, did you think about the 1-1-1?
Yeah, I'd had it in the back of my mind. My main thing was beating Wolves. That was my first one. Just wanted to make sure that we got the League One thing off Wolves. Then when we got up there, I think, well, Reading's was 106, and then because what happened, we lost the final of the EFL Trophy at Wembley. I think it was almost like we had nothing.
But it was
to play
just
for.
after
just
that,
after
wasn't it?
that. It was almost
So
like
difficult.
I remember the day before the EFL final. I went for a jog at Henley before we got on the coach. Wrexham had lost their game. And as I got back to the training ground, everyone was we just won the league. So we'd promoted on the Tuesday, won the league on the Saturday, or whatever that was, Wednesday. Won the league on the Saturday, and then we're playing on the Sunday. And there was something missing from the final. I felt like we had maybe nothing, I don't know, there was an edge missing from our game. Strange. And then after that, we had 6 games left, and I remember saying to them, right, legacy now. This is legacy. We can now do something.
Is that the word you used?
A legacy. Everything I used to put up I used to call it Legacy 107. So that was my thing, Legacy 107. If we get 107 points, no one's ever going to get that in our lifetimes. I didn't think so anyway. So I said, this is what we're going for. We're going to be the best British team ever, English team, to achieve that amount of points. And every meeting I finished with it, because there was nothing else. We'd won the league, everything was gone, but I just kept on talking about that to them. And then we did that. We got to 108, wherever was it Blackpool, whatever, and then we had a very final game against Cambridge, and someone texted me in the morning and said, get 1-1-1, it's got a lovely ring to it. And I thought, yeah, they're right. So I put Legacy 1-1-1 up, and yeah, it was amazing to get that.
And that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, and that was it. That trophy day, and I went down there
atmosphere,
after.
wasn't it? I was at Epic in the studio.
Yeah, no, it was, and they did the Guard of Honour. And yeah, I say for me, it's like these are memories. This book's amazing because these are things that I'll treasure forever.
And then it goes from tick, another tick, job done, to LMA Manager of the Year.
Yeah, that was
really
your
first
nice.
season as a manager.
That was nice because I got the EFL one, and then the LMA one was nice because it was, you sort of think, it's like player's player. It's the best one you can get. Other managers have had to vote for you, and I knew I had good resources here, and you sort of think, well, I've had a good chance, but for others to recognise and say no, that as a managerial performance that was good, meant a lot to me because they're really experienced managers, and I thought, wow, to actually be voted for it, because you've got people that have done great jobs with less resources in that league, for example Stockport and things like that, who did really well that year, but yeah, to get that, the player's player equivalent was amazing for me.
So on the back of those achievements, how do you switch off?
I am sort of used to that life because I've had to work hard to get up to where I've got to, but it is I wouldn't change it, but it takes a lot of energy, obviously, you know. But it's an exciting job as well. It's an exciting project, the club, where it's going, everything about it. So
are you still as excited when you look at it as from that? We looked at the picture earlier.
Yeah.
Day one at Birmingham.
Yeah, I am. It's a bit like you so much has happened in that time. I'm definitely a better manager than I was then, and I think to this very day we're talking now. As much as it's not been a fantastic week, we're 12th, I think, in the Championship, in the top half as such. And I think if you'd have said to me that day I walked in the door that in March the 4th or whatever you'll be talking about it on your 100th game and you'll be in the top half of the Championship, I would have been like, oh yeah, take that. Yeah, I just wanted to get out of League One. That was the number one thing. So when I look back at it, and for some reason the fans were really good. I think they could have been a lot more sceptical about me than it felt like they were. They really gave me a chance. I think there was, I don't know, I think it's because I was different to what they'd had before. They'd had the big name, they'd had maybe the more experienced manager, whatever. They hadn't quite clicked. So I think I was just something different at the right time for the club, but they really gave me a chance. And then by being successful, it's, endeared me to them initially. We at least it gave me the goodwill to attack this season.
It's a strong bond you have with the supporters.
Yeah.
Tell me about the celebration.
Yeah.
Going to behind the goal wherever they are, home or away, after a good win.
Oh yeah. No, it's.
How did that come about? Was it?
No, I
Did you think about it?
Well, as a manager, you think, right, because these days all the managers managers used to just get up and walk down the tunnel, but now they go on and shake everyone's hand and the referee's hand, and it is a bit. You're on there, but I thought, well, if everyone else is doing it, I'll do it. So you go and shake the referee's hand, you shake all the players' hand, and you're in and around it, and then you sort of go and celebrate with the fans or commiserate with them. So it's a big, very different feeling when you're clapping them after a win or a defeat, obviously, as you know. But you've got to take the rough with the smooth. You can't go and celebrate and all that with them, and then when you lose, get in the tunnel. So, but they're great, I must say. They do.
Do you enjoy that side of it?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, I don't follow anything publicly. So I've got no social media. I've never read. The only time I read any sort of articles or looked at it and how we'd done and everything was when we got promoted. Apart from that, nothing. I've never read any article, any website, paper, nothing. Because I just don't see the benefit in it. Yeah. But I've always felt with the supporters that I sort of know what they're thinking. They make it pretty clear. Yeah. And I do feel like I've got a good bond with them. I think they see that I'm giving my all for them. And I think there's a good connection between us, which is really important because it gives me a good chance. Like I say, we have our ups and downs, but they've been amazing. And for my first job, I couldn't have wished for a better club. No way. I think it was, like I say, the perfect job for me at the right time for the club, the right time for me. It just timing's everything, and this was a good example of it.
For turnover to the last one.
Yeah.
Against Ipswich this year, so back in the Championship, job done, and you'll notice there's several pages left to put many more. So we're approaching your 100th game.
Yes.
Key points, yes, we talk about your promotions and it's proved the right decision to come to Birmingham. What's your thoughts on this period, your 99 games up to now?
No, it's been very successful. I wouldn't, as I said to you, to think I'm going into the 100th game in the position we are, I would have snapped your hand off for that at the time. So I think we're in good shape. It's been an amazing journey. I think this season's been completely different to last season, in the sense that the expectation initially wasn't too much different, but the reality of the Championship has given me and the team some whacks along the way. But I've loved the way we've always responded and got back going again. And I feel really encouraged. I feel like what we have got here, if we can keep it, is it feels like there's a club that's together, feels like we're going somewhere. I've got no doubt wherever we finish this season, I am convinced we'll finish higher than we do if we're still there next season. So I feel like the club is going somewhere. There's progress happening, and the ultimate for us is to get to the Premier League, which again, I'm sure we're going to do when the time's right.
To celebrate your 100th game coming up, we've got a few of family and friends.
Okay.
I hope you like the surprise, but a few family and friends have said a few words for you.
Hey Chris, I just want to congratulate you on 100 games at Birmingham and 100 games in your managerial career as well. Outstanding achievement. Really proud of the way you've handled everything, getting promotion, and no easy task. And I'm very, very sure that the next 100 have special things to come as well. So good luck, mate. Keep going hard and always following.
Hi Chris, it's Kurt here. I just wanted to congratulate you on getting to 100 games as a manager. I mean, that's some achievement these days. It was great to see you last January when you brought Birmingham City down. You're looking as good as you ever were. I still look back with great memories of your time with us, especially the Reading game, getting promotion, and that first season in the Premier League. Fantastic days. Keep believing in yourself. Good luck for the rest of this season and beyond that, obviously.
Hi buddy, hope you are fine. Just want to leave you this little message and congratulate you for playing your 100th game as a manager. And so happy for you, so pleased for you. What an achievement, so well deserved. You've been preparing yourself so well, and I can see that all the work you've been putting has paid. And congratulations again, and all the best for the rest of the season and all the best for the rest of your career, mate. Okay, see you buddy, see you, top man, bye bye.
Congratulations Chris, another milestone achieved with many more to come. We are as ever very proud of you, and at a moment like this, think back to your first 100 hours when you were less than 4 pounds in weight. You certainly are living up to Kipling's words.
It's been an amazing journey, Chris. Well done, darling.
Is the Welsh accent.
Hi, Daddy, and congratulations on your 100th game as being a manager. Love you very much.
We are also very proud of you, sending lots of love from me, Ruby, Jaden, and Sienna too.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.
Nice surprise.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. That's really, really special. Yeah, that's so nice of them to take the time to do that as well.
I'd be an emotional wreck, I have to say. You look like you've,
no,
you've
that's
taken
honestly,
it really well.
That's really, really special. That's so special.
The motivation we see your parents and your wife and the kids.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I mean, they are, like I say, my wife and my kids, are everything they've put up with in them 100 games. As I say, you can't do it without them, sort of thing. It's they're my everything, obviously. So,
but I think sometimes people don't realise the sacrifices that they make.
Oh,
you talk about the holidays.
Yeah, no, they've not there when I should be there and doing things, and they make great sacrifices, and they know what's going on. Sometimes they're kids, but they know that it's hard for their dad at times and things like that, but they've sacrificed a lot, and hopefully they're learning some good lessons out of it all somewhere out of it. But yeah, they've been on the journey right the way through. They're at all the games, you know, and they go through all the ups and downs. I never talk on the way home when we lose, which I'm trying to work at that. But
I used to be terrible, I have to say. My kids knew if we won the game, we would either go out for dinner or we'd get a takeaway, and they could stay up and watch Casualty on a Saturday night.
I know. I wish it wasn't like that, but it's hard to. But no, honestly, that's really nice, and people along the way there that have had a big influence on me. I've learned a lot from as well. So for them to take the time to speak on there is really nice.
Good. Chris, thank you very much for joining us.
Appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure learning about the details that perhaps a lot of people didn't know.
Yeah.
But from us and the club, good luck.
Thank you.
Certainly for this 100th one and many more.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tommy.